It's the Prince versus the backup and the NFC West Civil War tonight on Snap, Tackle, and Talk.
Kick it off, break it down, they're calling the play. Glitter on debates, keep the night from the day. Some rise, some fall, on the charts they walk. But we'll keep tuning in to Snap, Tackle, and Talk.
Welcome back to Snap, Tackle, and Talk, a football podcast that is better than some, worse than others. I'm Dwight, and with me as always, the one, the only, the incomparable Mr. John Reed. And Collin.
Collin, what were you saying? We were off air again.
I don't know what you talking about, man. What are you?
You're saying you got a cold or something?
I sure have, man. It's been a freaking gauntlet for me the last month or so. I've had the flu twice, the cold. I haven't had a chance to rest either. It's been nonstop. I've been going through it, unfortunately. But now it's not even my throat that's sore in the mornings. It's like my tongue. Like it's like the back. Like it's clearing up, but so there's only one spot left that's sore still, and that's a mess because it's so swollen. I don't know. It's a lot of hot coffee, hot tea, and prayers for me, buddy. It's
Oh yeah, that helped me a lot when I had COVID. That I do the ginseng and honey Arizona green tea. Heat that up, soothing. But yeah, I still got all the gunk too. It's terrible, and it is freezing right now in this garage.
I can only imagine. It is very.
We're
very
also
cold.
supposed to get some weather this weekend, boys.
Yeah. So, good
Yep.
amount.
right here. I hope not too much. I got to fly out for a work trip early Monday morning, so hopefully it's not too much weather this weekend because I don't want to
Canceled.
Well, the current projected models, I think, are like 3 to 5 in the Lexington area.
That's a ton of snow.
That is
funny,
a lot. It's a
everybody-
lot less than they were originally projecting.
They were like projecting 8 to 12 inches or something crazy.
Yeah, the first go around on this was crazy. But Ryan Hall, y'all, check him out on YouTube if you need a weather guy. That's the guy you need to get. He said wait until Wednesday evening and check in on his channel, and he'll have it updated because it's going to change a whole lot even in the next 24 hours. So if you want weather updates for the big snowstorm going across the East Coast or the Midwest, check that out and get your info from there.
Let's do it.
Yes, like Nike, just do it. Oh, so well, I was going to ask y'all how your week's been, but I think Collin answered how his was. No, we had some good football on Sunday. Football was pretty good.
It was very good, actually. We had 2 overtime games. That was interesting.
We did. It was like an ice cream sandwich. You had these 2 great cookie crusts on either end of these ooey gooey blowout games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the divisional round was an ice cream sandwich, and I loved every second of it.
The
Go ahead, John.
Broncos beat the Bills in overtime, and Josh Allen started crying, and Bo Nix was licking his tears up. Ooh, so salty.
Yes. All while his foot was broke.
Yep, that's crazy.
I saw,
was
Dwight, did you see that the Broncos, I don't know how truthful this was. This could have been total speculation. But I saw the Broncos are planning on potentially putting Bo Nix on a high-level painkiller and seeing if he can play.
I don't know about
very
that.
seriously doubt that. He had
Yeah.
surgery today.
Yeah, they already said he's done. I mean, that no takesies backsies.
The most
I
disappointing
do
game-
I do to that point. There have been a few memes going around that have Kevin Nash in the wheelchair back in the NWO days, and he's got the fake cast on, and then it was like Bo Nix on Sunday, and he pulls the blanket off and he just stands up out of the wheelchair.
To me,
cream.
To me, the most disappointing game wasn't even the 49ers and the Seahawks. It was definitely Houston, New England. Just because I think we called the game with Houston, New England perfectly. We didn't account for C.J. Stroud playing the way he did. The 5 total turnovers. I'm shocked they didn't bench him really early in that game.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance to win. I mean, it's a playoff game. It reminds me of the Niners putting McCaffrey at quarterback and not letting him throw the ball. And obviously not in the same circumstance. But do you remember that championship game a couple years ago? It was the Niners and the Eagles, and the Niners just sat there and ran the ball every time with McCaffrey at quarterback instead of actually going and throwing it. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Like, you're in the last play. Why just lay down and take it? And unfortunately, man, CJ Stroud playing so poorly just took away any chance for his team to win. And yes, at the end of the game, Drake Maye played well, but for a lot of the game, Drake Maye did not play a great game. They had a chance. As a head coach, you have to step in and give the rest of your team, the other 21 guys that play every snap, give them a chance to win.
Davis Mills. Well,
unfortunately, CJ Stroud wasn't that guy. And now you hear a lot of people say, we got to have a conversation about CJ Stroud not developing, playing worse every year. Okay, fine. But the Texans should have played Davis Mills, because if CJ Stroud's going to throw 4 picks in the first half, then why not bench your quarterback and put somebody in that has to give you a chance to win the game?
Yeah, CJ Stroud really let his team down. I mean, there's no reason, as strong as the Texans defense is, they shouldn't have won that game. And it made me eat some crow because, honestly, I didn't think the Patriots, being a younger team, would make it this far in the playoffs. And now, I mean, I'm sorry, Dwight, not to give away the picks, but I mean, you got a backup quarterback in. They have a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And I don't like their chances if they do make it to the Super Bowl, but that's for a later date. But yeah, CJ Stroud, man, it's becoming a problem. I mean, he didn't have Nico Collins. I get it. But man, it doesn't matter what you do, but you can't turn the ball over. You cannot turn the ball over in playoff games, especially not 5 times.
It wasn't ridiculous. Even the 20 for 47. It was the 4 turnovers. We talk about Caleb Williams every week on this podcast. He throws 20 for 40 every week, but 0 interceptions. That's the difference. And that's the guy that wins games versus the guy that loses games. And you saw Caleb Williams. Unfortunately, that came up to bite him. And, it only takes you so far. I always need a clutch play. Came up just short in that playoff game against the Rams. But, there's a difference between Stroud and Williams. And unfortunately, it's development versus no development. Really a shame. And then on the Seahawks and the Niners game, we talked all week about Sam Darnold and him not playing well in the playoffs and being a fluke and a letdown or, whatever you wanted to say. Well, apparently the Seahawks do the whole time their game plan, just don't let Sam Darnold pass the ball.
He dropped back
it works.
He only dropped back 17 times.
But I mean, he did fine throwing. You know what I mean? He didn't have a bunch of he didn't have 5 turnovers. That's great. That's what you want to do.
Right. So, and that should have been the transition that the Houston Texans took when Stroud, instead of dropping Stroud back 47 times, mind you, it was a 1-score game going into the 4th quarter. It's inexcusable to have your running back only 14 carries, given he had 17 yards and 14 carries. But it's inexcusable to have your running back involved more in a game where your quarterback's thrown 4 picks. It's terrible coaching. Terrible coaching.
So I listened to a lot of the games on Sunday. I'll listen to over the radio, and I'll listen to the home or away, depending on what mood I'm in. And I really enjoy, like your local level. Like I love the Broncos. I love listening to Dave Logan call a Broncos game. But I like hearing the other commentators because it's so different in every market. The Pats in particular have a great booth. They're all 3 very loud and boisterous. But even they were screaming right at halftime. They were screaming. They're like, you have to bench Stroud. You gotta give Mills in here. And then I turned over and was listening to the Texans, and it was just the air in them was so deflated by halftime in the announcers. It was really horrible. It was just so melancholy. And there was just no energy in the fan base whatsoever by halftime of that game.
I mean, it's a shame. It's not every year you have a defense that dominant, and you just squandered an opportunity. I mean, I've got a new quote for Snap Tackle Talk. It's not about what you don't do. It's about what you do. But, Texans let down. Seahawks, man, they look dominant. I mean, okay, throw the Steelers game out because I think we all knew what was going to happen to the Steelers when they played. But, I mean, you don't see domination like that as much in the playoffs anymore. I mean, several years ago, you have some Super Bowls that got away from people, but like most of the time, if two teams are this far, it's a battle. It's a slugfest,
Right.
But man, to take a playoff team, and I don't care how beat up the Niners are, they have people and they're very well coached. Excuse me. Sorry. And they just dog walked them, man. I would be afraid whoever I am playing the Seahawks.
Yeah. I would agree. I think the last game changed my mind on what the Seahawks can do with Sam Darnold, because I don't think it matters how good or bad Sam Darnold is. I think the rest of the team is just fine. And
Just
very,
don't turn the
very
ball over.
impressive.
So I would caution the final score of that game. I don't think reflects the capabilities of the Seahawks offense. The Niners did turn the ball over 3 times. The actual stats in that game are very similar. Seahawks only had less than 300 yards of offense during the game. They just got put in great positions, a lot of times in their own red zone or in their red zone after recovering the ball. So I would caution that being a dominant effort and more so the Niners just falling flat on their face. But again, defense wins championships, and capitalizing on opportunities is what you want to look for. And they did that. They weren't dominant by any means, but they capitalized on every opportunity they had, and the 49ers capitalized on 0.
What's the Niners coach's name again?
Seems to get better each week, which is what's kind of scary.
What's the head coach for the Niners name again? I'm having a brain fart.
Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. So he was pissed. I mean, he was yelling at people. He was mad during that game. I was like, dang. I mean, I've seen him, get animated before, but he was livid over there. I do want to go back to the Broncos Bills game because I think there's some juicy stuff to talk about in there. The biggest being the interception. Dwight, why don't you take that one away? What do you think about that interception?
I've made it very clear. I've made a very clear post on our Facebook page that you can go and read. It describes exactly what the Calvin Johnson rule is. There is a distinct difference that if you go back and you watch the plays happen at speed, these are 2 plays that you can't necessarily watch slowed down because it changes what you think you're looking at. But if you watch them at game speed, it is very clear that Brandon Cooks is falling while still catching the ball. Jaquan rolls over, winds up with the ball, where Devontae Adams is stationary, pulls the ball in, which if you tuck, you are then an eligible, basically a runner. And that was the difference between the two, was simply Devontae tucked, and then the other guy was still in possession of the catch. You have to survive the ground if you're falling during the catch.
So what Dwight is saying, folks, all our viewers always tuck. No, but Collin's boy put his 2 cents in on that too. Did you see that, Collin?
No.
Joe Burrow was asked about it.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I thought it was somebody I know on the post made a comment.
Oh, no.
Joe Burrow logged in on Twitter for the first time in 2 years and said he thinks it's outrageous. People don't know what a catch is. Actually, in my group chat, I was talking, and I was saying, you guys saying Calvin Johnson, I was saying Des Bryant, but similar situation.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, the 2 situations that occurred, but I was saying that happened. I said 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, that's not a catch in the NFL. And, yeah, right. And it's just funny that the game's evolved in that way. I could see it I saw as soon as it happened, it was a bit controversial. What I thought was more controversial was the lack of defensive pass interference calls against the Broncos secondary in that game. I was in the chat talking about 2 of them in the 4th quarter that I thought were kind of egregious, especially one in the end zone. I thought at first the wide receiver never saw the ball. But when you replay it, man, he was getting dragged by his left arm, and he couldn't turn around to see the ball. And I think I said something in the chat along the lines of, you knew who was winning the game then. And that, my salty Bengals fan came out for a second about, plays that have happened in the playoff runs of that cost us Super Bowls. But I hate to get all conspiracy theorists, but it really is easy to tell sometimes who the officiating crew and leadership might want in that championship game. And unfortunately, no calling a call like that is pretty ludicrous. Well, it would have cost you the game, Dwight, and I'm glad you guys won for that reason. I thought that was an insane no call in such a big moment in a game.
What about the pass interference calls at the end of the games? I think one was on Trey White, and I can't remember if the other one was on him or somebody else right off the top of my head, but I watched both of them, and I thought both of them were pretty blatant. The one on Tre'Davious White, at least, he dove and tackled the player. It was close, but the big thing for me is he never turned his head around. You have to try to spot the ball if you're going to do that. And he did, but he was mad about it. He got another flag thrown at him because he was so pissed. And then even after the game, he was like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. They need to let the players decide the ball game and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't know. Both of them seem pretty straightforward to me on those two pass interference calls. I thought they were both legit. One dude had his arm pulled, turned. The other one, he never turned his head around. He tackled him. He jumped on him before the ball got there. What can you do? I mean, I know it's a high-stress moment, and you're trying to make a play into the game. It's all or nothing. But a penalty's a penalty. I mean, you can't tell me if he sits there and watches that replay, he's not going to be like, oh, no, that wouldn't pass interference. They're crazy. I know he knows more about ball than I do, probably, so don't tell me it wasn't pass interference.
I'm sure it was more of a emotional knowing what he just did than an actual – I mean, sometimes guys fail to take accountability. On that note, and as we're trying to fill an hour of time slot, I did see a podcast recently with Cam Newton talking about taking accountability. Finally taking accountability for not falling on the football in the Super Bowl. For years, he has said, why wasn't my – finally, he was on a podcast, and he just straight up said to the camera, I was scared. I was scared I was going to get hit. Thank you, Cam Newton, because that's something, again, filling up time. That is something. I saw an edit the other day. It said, Bengals fans, do you miss Jeremy Hill? And I thought, hell no, I don't miss Jeremy Hill, because he fumbled that ball with the Steelers and never apologized for it and said that he said Bengals fans suck. And he cost us that game. It was one of the greatest collapses like all time in a playoff game. Be up 16-13 with 1:40 left, need to run the ball one time, and you fumble it on the snap. Never apologized, never claimed. And so I have no remorse or sympathy for that guy. Cam Newton, always something I looked at. Glad to see finally he's admitting to it that he was too scared to jump on the ball.
It's okay. Just let us know you're scared, Cam. But, I know I joked earlier, but, it is sad. I understand the heartbreak of Josh Allen. Did you guys watch the interview with Josh Allen and then the Deion Dawkins thing? And they interviewed somebody else, but they were all emotional. Josh took the blame,
right?
Which I get it. He's the leader. You can't turn the ball over and expect to win a playoff game, all that stuff. But, reporters started asking other Bills players, Josh Allen saying it's his fault for losing the game. What do you all think about it? And they started crying like, man, he's the only reason we're here. He's like, why would he say, Deion Dawkins had to turn around and walk away. He got so emotional, and I feel for those guys. They're a good team. And trust me, as a Ravens fan, I 100% understand Bills fans. I do. You've got this once in a lifetime generational talent on your team, and you just can't get it done. I feel your pain 100%. Your guys' playoff record's a little better than ours, but I mean, if you're Josh Allen, you're looking at it this way. I mean, I know everybody and their mom has been talking about it, but you just entered the playoffs with no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. If there was ever a year to get it done, it was this year. And they couldn't quite get there. They put up a valiant effort, but going home, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Even more heartbreaking for the head coach, Sean.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He'll be one of our long list of coaches we're about to be talking about. But we do have one other game we need to talk about first, and that is the Rams versus the Bears, another overtime thriller. So that was actually a good game. Like, I really enjoyed that game. Man, the Bears, dude. If the Bears could play like they do towards the end of the fourth quarter, the entire game, they'd be going to the Super Bowl right now. Like, I thought, here we go again. Caleb Williams pulling out the heroics. I mean, some of those throws he was making on the run, like those plays were just awesome. And I'm like, this is the Caleb Williams everybody expects to see all the time. But then the interception in overtime. Like, I've heard Bears fans talk about it. I've heard former coaches and players talk about it. And honestly, the general consensus has been DJ Moore gave up on the route. He ran behind the safety when he should have cut in front. Like, he didn't do what he was supposed to. A lot of people are saying it's not on Caleb Williams. So, I mean, I don't know what route DJ Moore is supposed to be running, but that's costly for a team that's up and coming like that. And honestly, Caleb, I know his completion percentage isn't amazing, but he's progressing. He's getting there. If he keeps progressing, he's going to be a tough quarterback.
I would say Chicago is in a fantastic spot moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And that throw at the end of it was simply amazing because it didn't look like he put a lot of effort into it at all. It was one of those that's like, oh, he didn't. Oh, well, yeah, that's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Caleb Williams did have two other picks in the game, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the one. And we talked about it a minute ago. It was very uncharacteristic of Caleb Williams because even though he usually throws 50% completion, just like he did in this game, usually those balls hit the ground and they're not picked up. And those are two drives that, looking back at a 17-17 game going to overtime.
Yeah, 100%. And, honestly, the Rams, I mean, they played a good game, but they have not looked like the Rams we grew accustomed to towards the beginning of the season more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, honestly, ever since that game where Stafford threw those interceptions, I can't remember. It might have been against the Panthers the first time they played them. He's done well, but he hasn't looked like MVP Stafford. I mean, everybody thought he was running away with MVP until that game. And then it kind of started transitioning to Drake Maye. But after that, Stafford just hadn't really just super wowed me in any of his games, really. I mean, he's had moments, but as far as a whole game, I think his saving grace is he has beastly receivers, pass catchers, and decent running backs. I mean, he's got so many weapons. It's kind of like we say about Sam Darnold. He just has to manage the game, not turn the ball over.
So we've got a trend going the last few weeks. Our show kicks off a new coach being fired. And not only like just any coach, these have been, big name coaches. Harbaugh, Tomlin, not fired, walked away. Now, here we are with McDermott out of a job in Buffalo and coaching searches. So, okay, do you think there's any regret as of right now? Stefanski and Harbaugh's son. Do you think there's any inkling that they're kicking themselves in the ass that Buffalo became available, or do you think they may have already known that it was a strong possibility? Because you think if Buffalo was going to pull the trigger, they may have already sent out some feelers to see who might be interested in that job.
Yeah, with John Harbaugh, I think it was pretty straightforward from the beginning where he was going. I think he put on a show and he took other interviews to see what they'd say, but I think most people assumed he was going to New York. I mean, don't get me wrong, Josh Allen's amazing. any coach would be lucky to have Josh Allen. But if you look at the team in general, the defense isn't quite up to par. The offensive weapons, aside from James Cook, aren't really up to par. I mean, you have a lot of stuff you got to deal with in Buffalo. And then plus, you're filling pretty big shoes. I mean, Sean McDermott didn't do bad. He got them to the playoffs every year. They've won the division until this year for multiple years. I think like 5 or 6 maybe. But you go to the Giants, you're going somewhere where the shoes you're filling aren't that big. You've got a very promising young quarterback, very promising young running back. You've got a decent defense. Might just need a little tweaking, a little more motivation, a little more reps. You know what I mean? And you've got something to build off of. Neighbor's going to be coming back. You know, like, I think John Harbaugh landed in the perfect spot. And as far as Stefanski goes, you just failed with the Browns, dude. He can't expect to go get whichever team he wants. He's just happy he got hired as head coach, probably. Baker Mayfield gave him what for? Did y'all see that?
I've seen that. Seen that. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach.
Yep.
Oh, so who do you think? Any speculation on who you think might land there? What would be a good fit with the available talent pool?
As far as Buffalo?
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. I mean, do you want somebody to coddle Josh Allen, or do you want somebody to get your defense back on track? That's kind of the same thing the Ravens are facing right now. Like, me personally, I want a defensive-minded head coach. I want him to get the Ravens defense back to what the Ravens defense is supposed to be. We've got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. We've got offensive weapons. It would be awesome. I've said it 3 weeks in a row if we could get a Mike McDonald as an offensive coordinator. Speaking of, he just removed his bid from the Browns. He said, no, Browns, don't consider me for head coach. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I would
other
say,
teams,
Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield will be getting him some Mike McDaniels next year.
He's already got offers for OC even. Like the Chargers offered him OC job. And I'm sure
I
Ravens,
think they'll take Tampa Bay. The strong feeling is right now that McDaniels will be Tampa Bay's OC.
Man,
and
that's
he's
crazy.
Going to be the successor to the head coach once the head coach has gone bowls.
I don't see it. I think, and I hate to say it because I like the guy, but McDaniel is like McDaniels. They're terrible head coaches, but really good offensive coordinators. It's a McDaniel thing. I don't know what it is, but it's just, I would love to have him come up with plays for Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I would love it. And I can't imagine why he wouldn't be excited to do that. I mean, that's got to be a dream for an offensive coordinator as creative as he is. You know what I mean? Like, I hope they at least try to get him as offensive coordinator. And honestly, as far as the Ravens go, I'd love Vance Joseph to be the head coach. Flores, I think he's being favored to go to the Steelers, maybe. I haven't heard any favors for the Ravens, honestly. We've interviewed just about everybody and their brother, and maybe they're waiting to see if maybe a Vance Joseph after their season's over comes for an interview. I don't know. But the Bills, I don't know. I think Kubiak would be great for the Bills. But if we don't get a Vance Joseph, I'd want a Kubiak. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They did say Saleh is more than likely taking the Titans head coaching job. So
I thought that was done.
No. The Dolphins signed the Packers
Heflin or
defensive
something.
Coordinator.
I was pretty sure that Saleh took the Titans job today.
I think it said they're working out details or something. Hold on.
It's to be hired. It was like 7 hours ago, so it's just they're working. Yeah, it says they're hiring.
Yeah, expected to be hired is what it says. I think it's funny because I always thought this guy was so hilarious on the Steelers sideline. Their special teams coach always has that big wad of gum in his mouth. He's like, and he's always yelling. Rah! But he's now the Buccaneers special teams coordinator. I think that's funny. Trying to see what else. Ooh, this isn't coaching news, but the Packers released Trayvon Diggs. I know Collin's surprised.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, the Chiefs are hiring back Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator.
Yes.
So that's going to be crazy.
You know, that's a good spot. That's an organization that he fits in extremely well, and he has always done a great job in the Chiefs organization. The Commanders organization was a little bit of a different story, and I think he was with the Chicago running backs coach right now. Nothing out of there, so I'm assuming he's done a great job there this year because Chicago's running game is pretty solid. Great move for him to come back at the OC of the Chiefs, because in all honesty, that's someone that Andy Reid always wanted as a successor, or at least was in the thought process when that goes around. So.
And it was Jeff Hafley as the Packers DC that the Dolphins hired as the head coach.
Yeah, it's kind of
curious how that's going to go.
Is it just me, or does that guy looks a little odd? Like he's
got a big forehead.
Yeah, like kind of weird looking.
The Bills promoted Brandon Beane to the title of president of football operations.
Hey, here you've done a horrible job. Let's fire the head coach instead of you and give you a promotion.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Your boy Stidham is getting a lot of comparisons to Nick Foles. That's all over the place now.
Yeah, that's circumstantial though. There's a lot of other people you can compare Stidham to that are not Nick Foles. Nothing against Nick Foles, but not one and the same.
He won a Super Bowl though. Got to give him that.
He did. And you know what? Nick Foles wished Stidham luck. There's a lot of people on the Stiddy bandwagon.
You know, it might be crazy. Call me crazy, but there's a post here. And after Mike Daniel did what he did, Deion Sanders would only consider an NFL job if he can coach his son.
Oh, yeah.
Which son?
Shedeur.
Probably the one that needs a head coach.
Well, I
wouldn't be shocked about that.
Practice squad and call it a day.
I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland did it just for the ratings. Give it a couple years and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen with Cleveland? I mean, come on.
You can't finish any worse.
You get some national games, you get a little exposure. You might have some players want to go play for Deion.
Might.
You know, I'm sure there's plenty out there would love to. I mean,
yeah, again, Deion Sanders is not playing quarterback for the Browns next year.
No, Deion Sanders is not playing quarterback for the Browns.
Shedeur might, but Deion.
I meant definitely not Deion. Yeah, I meant Shedeur Sanders is not playing. I'm sorry. I meant Shedeur Sanders. It'll be Deshaun.
Yeah, I doubt he will be there as well.
And the Browns are in for a world of hurt the next few years with their. I mean, it's going to be paper bag city, I think, again in Cleveland.
Do you think anybody tries to take Shedeur? Like maybe Oakland or not Oakland, Las Vegas?
To sell some tickets. I mean, Oakland's issue, it's quarterback play and Geno Smith, but they have so many other problems on their team. I'm not taking Shedeur unless I am trying to build a team around them, or maybe if I'm a team that's like Oakland that doesn't have the talent, wants to fill some seats. I see where you're going with that. I mean, especially in Vegas.
Not just that. Like which they are going to have probably the number one pick, aren't they?
Yeah, Mendoza will be the Raiders quarterback.
But I mean, it for other teams though who may be looking for quarterback, if you're not impressed with this draft class, for quarterbacks, and the one or two that you might consider are going to be taken, I mean, you might get somebody just to fill in that's on a rookie contract if the Browns let him go, and just ride with him until you get a draft class you like.
You know where he should go? The Jets. Go to the Jets. If you can turn around the Jets, you will get every single praise you ever thought imaginable. if
I
you
think-
can do anything with the Jets. And you know what? They would take him. I see no reason why the Jets would be like, yes, you can be our starting quarterback. No problem. What up, Ian?
My
Speaking
worry.
of, who's going to be the quarterback for the Steelers this year coming up?
It should be Will Howard.
Think
Just
so? You don't think they're going to try to find somebody
new?
new?
But
you gotta
guess
think,
it's gonna be
too.
on the coach.
New
I'm
head
not sure they
coach,
think
yeah.
much of Will Howard. I'm not sure I think much of Will Howard. They had him buried in that depth chart. I'm really not sure I think much of Will Howard.
You know who I want to see? Duck Hodges.
He's doing podcasts now, man. He's not even.
All right. So let's stop talking about all the teams that are not successful this year, and let's talk about our final four. The final four teams that are Mason Rudolph.
Yep,
There would just be more of the Tomlin over and over. That would just be a constant reminder of Tomlin. Like,
I just want to see him and Myles Garrett go at it again.
all right. So we got a couple of good games on tap for Sunday as the AFC and NFC championship to determine who goes to the big game on February the 8th. We will start with the early game. The early game is at 3:00 on Sunday. It is the Denver Broncos hosting the New England Patriots. This game is in Mile High, so it is middle of the day, sure to be a lot of fun. And as you could see last week, Josh Allen had an awful hard time hearing. So New England's going to have a lot of fun on Sunday because I have a feeling as loud as they were Saturday, it could be a little more dialed up given the circumstances. But I will let either one of you all kick off with your thoughts on the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos.
Drake May struggled last week. He played a really good game really early and a really good game late. And in the middle, he struggled big time. I wasn't super impressed with Bo Nix last week, despite the stats, I guess, overall. I thought there were some things that you would expect to see, I guess, from a young quarterback in a playoff game. I worry about playing in Mile High for the Patriots. The Patriots were given a lot of opportunities to win by C.J. Stroud in that game, and Bo Nix is not going to make the same amount of mistakes C.J. Stroud did. And if the Patriots play like they played last week, they lose this game. Vegas has the Patriots at 5.5 because Jarrett Stidham's playing quarterback for the Broncos. I've looked at Jarrett Stidham's stats. I know when Brady retired, there was a lot of talk about Jarrett Stidham. Oh, he's taking the reign, and he never did. And for whatever reason, Jarrett Stidham has maintained a third-string quarterback, second-string quarterback throughout his NFL career. The question I have is if the Patriots defense is not disciplined enough to play good defense against a quarterback there's not a whole lot of tape on with this team. I think to my defense, and they would be, they'd give up 450 yards and they'd lose the game. However, I think the Patriots defense is much more disciplined, as they showed last week against the Texans. I understand where the 5.5 spread's at with the uncertainty of Jarrett Stidham. And if Bo Nix in this game, I think it's a 7-point spread in favor of the Broncos. I don't have faith in Jarrett Stidham, especially the Broncos' run game not being insane this postseason. I don't have faith in Jarrett Stidham. Oh, and by the way, the Patriots having really great pressure numbers. The Bills didn't get home once against Bo Nix last week. But the Patriots have a very good front for the pass rush. That kind of pressure on Jarrett Stidham, not having played all year, just getting to practice this week. I have to go with the Patriots only because of Jarrett Stidham. But Dwight, I say that with a grain of salt because, again, I think this would be a huge Broncos totally favored situation if Bo Nix hadn't left it all on the field last week.
So I don't think this is going to be an insanely high-scoring game. I think the first team to 24 wins. but unfortunately, Dwight, I think that team's going to be the Patriots. It comes down to Stidham and the offense for me. We know the Patriots offense can move the ball. It's going to be sluggish. That's why they're not putting up 30 points against the Broncos. The Broncos have a good defense, tough atmosphere, and all that. But, man, in a game like this where you got to play a backup quarterback who's not been playing. I mean, talk about rust. He's going to be shaking off a lot of it coming into this game. And in games like that, you want another outlet. You just want that quarterback to be a game manager. You don't want him to have to take over. But like Collin said, the running game just hasn't been good enough. Ideally, in a game like this, you want to hand the ball off, make checkdowns, and then a couple times throughout the game, whenever the defense is biting on that, take a couple safe shots down the field when your guy's open. You know what I mean? That's the kind of game you want. But I don't think that your run game is going to scare the Patriots defense enough to bite on it like that. And I don't know that you have enough time to check down all the way down the field to score touchdowns and be able to outscore the Patriots. I mean, your defense is going to have to play on another level. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying your defense is going to have to play like their hair's on fire for 4 quarters. And like I said, I'm eating a lot of crow because I didn't think the Patriots were going to make it this far, being a young team. But you're starting quarterbacks out, man. That's what it all boils down to. And if anything else, is familiarity with the receivers, running the offense, and being clutch in moments, knowing who your guys are. You ain't got that this week. I'm not saying Stidham's going to go out there and suck it up. Maybe he does decent, but I don't know if decent's going to be enough.
All right. So obviously, I'm going to take the Broncos. That's foregone conclusion, So let's look at a couple things here very objectively. The New England Patriots team that is currently in the playoffs right this second over the last 2 weeks is not quite the same Patriots team we've seen in the regular season. The regular season Patriots team only coughed up the ball maybe a dozen times at best overall the whole season. The last 2 games, that's 5 times. 5 times over 2 games is a lot different. It's taken Drake Maye a little longer to get into the swing of the game. I think the biggest difference for Denver is going to be the home field advantage. Number one, we kind of own the Patriots at Mile High. The Patriots don't come into our house and win. We are also the 2 AFC championship game losses they have in their 9-2 record. So history-wise, that sets up very well for us. What doesn't is the fact that Bo Nix is hurt, because what Bo Nix has over Jarrett Stidham is an X factor. Jarrett, his ceiling is so high because he can do magical moment stuff that Jarrett Stidham will probably never do, because that's not the kind of quarterback Jarrett Stidham is. But let me tell you who Jarrett Stidham is. There's also a very nice video on Snap, Tackle, and Talk where you can go and watch a full dossier on the career of Jarrett Stidham. But let me add a few points that I did not have in that video. And number one, Collin, you mentioned that he was 2nd or 3rd string. Would back that up because he's only been 2nd string. The reason that he wasn't the successor to Tom Brady is they had a chance to go out and get Cam Newton. So he went from back up to Tom Brady, back up to Cam Newton. When Josh McDaniels left New England, he took Stiddy with him, and he went to Oakland. He got to Oakland and he backed up Derek Carr. Got tired of backing up Derek Carr, came to Denver to back up Russ Wilson because Sean Payton came to Denver, and Sean Payton likes Stidham. He was handpicked to come into Denver to serve as his backup to the rookie quarterback he was drafted. So much to the tune that as soon as we cleared cap space with Russ Wilson, the first thing Sean Payton does was sign Stiddy to the highest paid backup in the league and promise Stidham, if there is a team you want to leave for to start, we will trade you. No questions asked. If you want to go start, you can. The Patriots, Josh McDaniels, back in New England, called the Broncos. Hey, we're going to have Drake Maye here. We want Stidham on our team to be in our quarterback room with our rookie quarterback. Stidham said, no, if I'm going to be a backup, I'll stay in Denver. He passed up a couple different teams that wanted him to fill in that time that they lost their number ones. Stayed in Denver because he liked Sean Payton. Denver was very good to him, paid him extremely well. He's currently the number 4 highest paid backup in the league. The only thing he hasn't had is an opportunity. There's not a single guy that he sat behind that you as an owner or a head coach can look at and be like, oh yeah, this guy should start over a future Hall of Famer. Not a single person in that lineup can you say that about. He's just not gotten the shot. The few shots that he has gotten, to the tune of 4 regular season games, one, he hung up 300 and some odd yards and 4 touchdowns on the Niners defense. It was the number 1 defense in the league. He filled in for Russ twice. Both of those games, he was over 270 each game. He had 2-1 and 1-1. One was a loss, one was a win. He's going to throw and make 60% of his passes. That's historically who he is. He's shown that he can come in and be a game manager. He's a 9-year vet. He's sitting under some of the most legendary quarterbacks to play the game. This isn't like putting in Ben DiNucci, who we had to call up from the 3rd string, or Engler, that we had that was our 3rd string. It's not like calling up one of those guys. This is calling up a guy who has a football mind. And the team's extremely rallied behind. Number 1, there's something else. I have no issues. You can go back to our earlier in the season episodes, and it was probably week 2 or week 1. We talked about the end of the preseason and how Jarrett Stidham was statistically the best quarterback that played in preseason. And I stated he is the best backup in the league, and I will have no worries if Bo Nix goes out that Jeff Stidham can run this offense, Sean Payton's offense that he's been in for years now, and be just fine. That's where I'm at. Our defense has gotten us this year. All the critics have said all season long, oh, you're winning in spite of Bo Nix. Bo Nix goes down. Now all the critics, oh, you can't win because you ain't got Bo Nix. Which is it? Which is it? Is Bo Nix the savior? Is he not? Jarrett Stidham will be just fine. Our defense will win the game. Is Jarrett Stidham putting on a cape like Nix would? No, he doesn't wear a cape. But you know who does? Nick Benito, Riley Moss, Pat Surtain. Those guys wear a cape. To address the one fact on the Buffalo that I didn't get out earlier, Collin, everyone who wants to gripe about the penalties in that Buffalo game, what about the holding on DJ? If he wouldn't have got held, number 1, he would have got Allen in the end zone. Number 2, if they would have called it, the game would have been over immediately, and the Broncos quarterback wouldn't have got hurt. I think we have a little more egregious with the refs do than Buffalo honestly does at the end of the day. I don't think New England can get it done. If they do, the matchup to watch in this New England game, and here's where New England has a shot to win. Crenshaw, our punter, has been great all season about pinning somebody to the side in the 5-yard line. They have Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones is their most explosive player on the Patriots. He's their only dynamite type player, I would say. He scored a special teams touchdown, he scored a defensive touchdown, and he scored an offensive touchdown. The only player in the NFL to do all 3. If we don't have our special teams game down and we let Marcus Jones pop off one and bring it to the house on special teams, we're probably going to be in trouble, because this is going to be a 1-score game, because that's who the Broncos are. We're still everything we were all season, and we'll beat the Patriots. And I don't think with Bo Nix, I don't think it was going to be a blowout. If LA or Vegas would have put 7-point odds on the Broncos winning, I would have took that. So There's
So-
my piece on the Broncos.
I've got a
No, I'm
rebuttal.
sorry. I want to respond to one thing. Dwight was just talking about the guys that Jarrett Stidham backed up and how good they were. And if you compare them to their primes, sure, I hear your point. But you're saying he backed up the shell of Cam Newton. We're missing Jimmy G in that conversation as well. But backed up the shell of Cam Newton.
Russell Wilson.
Backed up the shell of Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on. Whoa. Hold on, Collin. Weren't you saying how good Russell Wilson was just at the beginning of the season? And how good he was when he was with the Broncos, that he was serviceable?
No.
They're getting there because of their name. I'm not
There's
saying
no way. No.
they're
Roll
good.
the tape back. When you air this, roll the tape. There's no way I ever said Russell Wilson was serviceable with the Broncos. There is zero.
I think you said it. I think it was with the
said
Giants.
that.
I think it was with the Giants.
Dwight, can we
talking about
please?
people that, based off their name, no one's going to get to start over.
That's not true. Cam Newton came in like a 1 year, $5 million contract.
Nobody was starting over Russ Wilson.
He could have started with Cam Newton. He was in the system.
Dwight, can we please take this clip afterwards and do a voiceover on Collin and just make him say, "I definitely said that Russ Wilson was." No, okay.
He could have started over Jimmy G. If he's talented, he could have. He could have started over Cam Newton. He could have started over Russell Wilson.
You weren't going to start over Cam Newton. You weren't. You weren't going to start over Cam Newton.
Well, no, when they
I
benched
think
him.
it's all
Why didn't he
about the
play when they
names.
benched Cam Newton? Why did he play that?
It's a legacy play. It's just like nobody was going to beat out Aaron Rodgers. No
Probably
matter how
filling
bad
seats.
Aaron Rodgers looked, nobody was going to beat out Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. I do have to correct you, Dwight, on your stats, your statistics, because the Baltimore Ravens, January 20th, 2013, indeed beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship. Just saying.
Okay. Maybe they're not in 3.
So
I just
okay,
know we've got a very good record against the Pats.
I hear you about Stidham. Okay. Stidham was hands down, in my opinion, the best backup quarterback who played in this preseason. He put up a lot of yards. He did really well. But I think we all agree preseason's preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even have a different opinion if Bo Nixon went down, say, week 14 or 15, and he played the rest of the season and went into the playoffs. But, man, how many playoff games has Stidham played in his career?
No, this will be this is it. This is the first.
You can't ask a guy who's been backing up for years, who's never played a playoff game, to come in then and expect him. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have the talent, but you couldn't set Patrick Mahomes on. Well, okay, that people would probably argue with me, but I'm going to make the point anyways. You couldn't set Patrick Mahomes down on the bench for a whole season, put him in a playoff game, and expect him to play a vintage Patrick Mahomes game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're not expecting his best game if he's set all year. You know, I'm not saying Stidham doesn't have the talent to win this game. I'm just saying being his first game, being his first playoff game, and being the playoffs in general, I'm not expecting his best performance.
Right. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Is he going out and do the 360? No, probably not. He might. He done that against the Niners, never played a game in his life in the NFL. Done it against the Niners. However, if he goes out and throws 130, 150 yards, goes 22 for 28, throws a touchdown and an interception, the Broncos still win this game because they don't need a quarterback to even do that. You know what we need? A quarterback that gets us down the field so Will Lutz kicks a field goal, because that's what we've done all year. We have been horrible about getting in the red zone and getting in the end zone when we're in the red zone. We've kicked it almost all the time. Will Lutz has had a career year this year based off the fact that we've never punched it in. And J.K. Dobbins may be back for this week, but he will be back if we make the Super Bowl. And if Stidham has Dobbins out beside him, who adds 1.3 yards per rush, because he was averaging 5 yards a carry before he left, that's dynamite there.
Yeah. And
Dobbins
I
makes
get
a
it, but
difference.
it's the same issue, though. he still doesn't have his legs back under him. Dobbins. Now, I do agree Dobbins is an upgrade, and I do agree
100%.
Dobbins was doing well when he was playing, but it's another player who doesn't have his legs under him yet. If he had had another, like a game even to play before this game, I would have a different opinion. But let me ask you this. How disappointed would you be if Stidham maybe 4 or 5 times, but other than those 4 or 5 times, didn't throw a pass over 20 yards the entire game? Would you say the Broncos would win?
No pass over 20 yards? Yeah.
Like 4 passes over 20 yards. Maybe not even completed, but just thrown.
Can dunk his way down the field.
I think that is a long, hard road to beat this Patriots team if you try to do that. But at the same time, my point is, do you think Sean Payton is confident enough to allow Stidham to have free reign in this game?
Yeah.
Or do you think he's going to say, no, because, again, Stidham has got to get his legs under him. What happens if he goes out there and throws 3 interceptions in the first half?
Sean Payton will chalk it up to that's what it is. And I have no doubt that Sean Payton has 100% faith that Stidham's going to come out and do just fine.
Fair enough.
That's hand-chosen backup. We'll find out on Sunday, and we'll see what Stidham does or don't do. But more importantly, we'll see what the Broncos do when they go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, sorry. Before the next game, I do want to ask you one more question. So what happens if Stidham goes out here and balls, and then he goes to the Super Bowl and he balls, and he plays way better than Bo Nix has ever played in both these games? Then what do you think?
And he starts the
Stidham gets himself a nice contract with another team, and Bo Nix is our quarterback. Stidham's also been in the league 9 years. Next year is going to be his 10th year in the league. It's an age thing.
Yeah.
It would be great if it was 5 years ago. Yeah, I think you do what Philly did. So, keep folks and let the other one go. But
I went.
No, you shop Stidham. I mean, hell, if he wins the Super Bowl, how much can we get for him?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh, especially if you go to the Super Bowl, if you go to the Super Bowl, does Stidham run his own version of the Denver special, not the Philly special, the Denver special?
Maybe. Like I said, so let's look at this real quick. What do you think, looking back at all the games, because I know both of you all, especially Collin at some points in the season, been very questionable on what kind of quarterback Bo Nix is across 4 quarters. Even I've questioned he can't put it together for 4 quarters. What do you think the Broncos offense looks like if you had a guy in there who could put it together for 4 quarters, who might actually be very familiar with a lot of these receivers, especially the one that we just called up off the practice squad, Elijah Moore, who Stidham's extremely familiar with at the moment. What if you get that kind of gameplay across 4 quarters? What kind of team does Denver look like going into the Super Bowl if they put up 14 points a quarter?
So that worries me, Dwight, because I've seen that play out before with Jake Browning a couple of years ago with the Bengals. Familiar with the guy at the practice squad. It was Trenton Irwin. In Jake Browning's case, a second-team wide receiver. Had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the field. I'm not saying he was like this in 24, but in 23 when he came in, he fed Trenton Irwin no matter what. And that worries me that he's going to see Elijah Moore, who he's confident and knows, and target him over your top receivers. You say no.
Very familiar with Marvin Mims.
I've seen it happen on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And was it successful? No, of course not. Oh, okay.
So to that point, which you're 100% right. Stidham is very familiar with Pat Bryant. He's very familiar with Marvin Mims because most of those guys play with him on that team when they're scrimmaging against the defense. My understanding from everything I've heard about the locker room is Stidham's got a great connection with a few of the receivers. Not as much with Sutton. Sutton, he's not had a lot of practice with. But Mims he's seen a lot of, and he definitely has a little Jordan Humphreys because all those guys were elevated from the lower ranks with Stidham. So there is a lot of familiarity with him and the receivers. But if the defense held and you had an offense that was consistent, do you think that would change anything against either of the two teams we're getting ready to talk about? All right, because we do have the two heavy hitters left in the NFL tournament here. We got the LA Rams going into Seattle, another loud home game because it is hard to play at Lumen, and the Seahawks are crazy with their dark side defense. John, you want to start us on this one?
Yeah, I mean, these are two juggernauts going head to head. They faced each other twice already this year. The Rams won the first one. Seahawks won the second one. Now, I'm going to ruin the surprise early. I'm picking the Seahawks in this game. If you look at these two teams on paper, there's no way you don't pick the Rams to win this game. The names on the Rams are just crazy, but I've seen one team, we'll say the last 5-ish weeks, kind of just coast their way along, and you've seen one team excel. And I've got to go with what I've seen on tape. And what I've seen on tape is the Seahawks putting up a lot of points, playing very well and very consistently, and even getting better. And I've seen the Rams squeaking by some wins. They were supposed to dominate the Panthers. They were supposed to dominate the Bears. You know, I mean, I know these are playoff games to the NFL. Actually, 100%. Well, no spoilers. But I like your picks. Yeah, the Seahawks just look like they're on another level from every other team on the playoffs right now. I do think the Rams will make this game interesting. I don't think it's going to look like San Francisco Seahawks did, but I fully expect the Seahawks to win this game. Their defense, I think, is the only defense that rivals the Texans' defense, but in completely different ways. The Seahawks are more high-flying, very reliant on their secondary. The Texans were more heavy hitters up front. They can really get after the quarterback and stop the running game. But yeah, awesome defense and an offense that can move the ball and really capitalize on field position and things that defense gives them. Even their special teams. I mean, the first play from scrimmage for the Seahawks last week was a return for a touchdown. Like, and I think the world of their head coach. I'm not kicking myself, but I'm kicking the Ravens for not keeping Mike McDonald. He would be an awesome head coach to replace John Harbaugh, but unfortunately, he's got a team that's probably about to go to a Super Bowl now that he's head coaching. So, give me Seattle.
All right. I think I like both teams. I like the Rams a lot more than I like Seattle. Let me correct it. I don't really like Seattle. I don't know why I said that. I'm beginning to like Seattle's defense. I like Seattle's defense. I like the idea of Seattle's defense.
I'm getting me a Darnold jersey.
I thought the Rams were the most complete team, and I still think they are on a percentage basis because I think they have a much better quarterback and receiving core than Seattle does. But I'm not saying Seattle's is bad, especially the receivers are great. I'm still questionable about Sam Darnold. It's going to be a close game because Sam Darnold can screw up a lot of things and still not lose the game. I'm torn because I want to see the best defense go against Denver if Denver was to make it. That's the battle I would like to see. However, based off the fact that I have Denver going to the Super Bowl, I think it's going to be the Rams because that just sits right in my stomach for some reason. That's just what I've envisioned in my head. That I think Denver and the Rams sounds like more of a matchup that'll happen than New England and the Rams. New England and Seattle also sound like a matchup that could happen. But based off gut alone, and not my brain, because my brain should say Seattle, I'm going with Matt Stafford and the Rams.
Who did before you go, Collin, who did the Seahawks play when they won the Super Bowl with Wilson?
It was Denver.
In 13. Was it Denver?
Mm-hmm.
That would be wild.
The snap goes over Peyton Manning's head on the first play of the game. It was downhill from that.
It'll be the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I don't want to overcomplicate this. Matt Stafford has not played well the last few weeks. The Seattle Seahawks have proven they know how to coach around Darnold, as shown last week. Their defense is very opportune. Matt Stafford 4 weeks ago wasn't making mistakes, but he's thrown picks the last few weeks. He's not looked great. He's going to throw picks this game. I don't want to overcomplicate it. I don't know why I would go with the Rams other than they've been there and done it. That's the only reason you go with the Rams. But the Rams are also 4 years older, 3 years older, 5 years older. And in football, that's a long time.
6-7 years older.
Right.
No, I'm saying the point is they've had a dynasty the last few years, my point. And a very talented football, very good football, making runs year after year. But 5 years is a long time in football. And the better team on paper, because of how they match up, is the Seahawks. If the Seahawks do lead against the Niners, which is score when they have the ball, even if it's going 20 yards, and take the ball away from Matthew Stafford, they win the game. And Matthew Stafford's shown the last few weeks he's been giving the ball up. And if he plays like he did the last few weeks, the Seahawks win. If he plays like he did the rest of the season, then the Rams win. I take good defense over good offenses all day in the playoffs. The Seahawks have a great defense, and they've shown they're not giving the ball away on offense and are okay game managing with Darnold. That's good coaching. Good coaching, good defense wins the game. I have to go with the Seahawks.
All right. So none of us pointed out the fact that both the NFC and the AFC championship game are a Mike versus Sean scenario.
What do you mean?
The coaches, Mike and Sean versus Mike and Sean on both sides. For that, I petition ESPN that if it is indeed a Mike and Mike Super Bowl as the head coaches, we need Golick and Greeny for a Super Bowl special one last time, if it truly would be a Mike and Mike Super Bowl, because I think that would only be the right thing to be. It's going to be Sean.
If it's a Mike and Mike Super Bowl, I want Mike Tyson calling the game.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. You know who he calling the game? Snoop Dogg. Did you hear him call that basketball game?
I didn't.
Oh, dude, it was fantastic. He called the Golden State Warriors game, and it was. I would listen to the NBA if he called every game. I would be a diehard NBA fan because it was.
Snoop's still salty. The Steelers got beat.
Yeah. All right, so join us back here next week around 9:00 on Tuesday when we talk about Denver and the Rams being in the Super Bowl and go over that whole mess. And, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, join us on all the social medias, go to our website, snaptackletalk.com, and
ruined it.
Oh, wait, no, Collin.
Stay football hungry.
No.
And get some.
Oh, my.
Swing and the miss. He was ready for it too, boys.
It was
perfect.
Oh, we almost nailed it.
Almost.
We only have a couple more to go before